You may have heard about the Pacific Ocean, more specifically the South Pacific Ocean. Many islands are located here, many are even famous, like the Fiji Islands for their natural beauty and of course their stupidly overpriced water. But I don't want to speak about the Fiji Islands. I want to speak about the Cook Islands, more specifically the Palmerston Islands. As I already said, it's one of the islands from the southern group of the Cook Islands. The Cook Islands are a self-governing island country in the South Pacific Ocean in free association with New Zealand. As for the Palmerston Islands, there are 6 so-called motus or islets. Palmerston, of course, here is the only village and the only inhabited island. The North Islands consist of 5 banks and 3 islands. The North Island, Tomatika, and the Taraitokiru Island. Then there are the Birds Islands, Lester, Lituas, Motunengang, Small Cooks, the Birds Islands. And I even almost forgot the certainly world-famous Karakaraka. South of it is the Primarosa Island, then the Toms Island and the Cook Island. Here you can find the Dicky Boy Sandbank, just to add to the places named here by a 4-year-old. You can find the meaning of the names in the Wikipedia page of the Palmerston Islands, but I don't want to bother you with it anymore. Palmerston was first reached by Captain Cook in 1774. Even though he found it in 1774, he only placed his foot on it in 1777. It was completely uninhabited at the time. Some sources say that some ancient graves were discovered on the island, which could mean that it had been inhabited before the discovery of it. He named it Palmerston after one of the Lords Commissioner of the Admiralty named Viscount Palmerston. 1863 rolled around, and a person named William Master settled here with his 3 wives. He was an English carpenter and a barrow-maker on a ship. Although it was believed that he came from Leicestershire, many sources say that his actual birthplace was in Gloucestershire. He and his wives had 23 children. You may ask, how did it go from 26 people to only 57 in almost 160 years? Many of his descendants have chosen to live somewhere else, most probably on the so-called capital of the Cook Islands, Rarotonga. The people on the island live a very peaceful and quiet life. The majority speaks English and the religion here is Catholic. One ship comes every 6 months to the island to bring supplies for the people living on it. But this ship is very inconsistent. There were times when it only came once in 18 months instead of 3 times. A thing many will not think, but they actually have electricity. Even some internet for a couple of hours in a day. There is only one TV on the island, where the kids mostly watch rugby highlights in the afternoon. There are only 2 toilets on the island, which would be unthinkable for some people living in cities in the modern world. Many families even had 2 toilets in their house. For the people living on the island, this is just minor inconvenience. The only export on the island is fish. Fish is also featured in almost every dinner, but there is a huge problem with fish not being actually there. The fish population in and outside of the atoll is massively decreasing over the years. The newest building on the island is the church, which was built out of a ship that got stranded there 11 years ago. The only policeman on the island says that even though they have difficulties, they are enjoying life there and will be happy to live there in the coming years.